I am Lois Borkin Morris Lipton. And Sherry and I actually were cousins by marriage. Her aunt Min married my uncle Nate. So I'm the Nathan side. Sherry and I became very good friends in the 80s here in New York, though we're both from Chicago. At the opera the other night, La Sonnambula by Bellini, the soprano Diana Damrau performed cartwheels on stage. Sherry, I wanted to ask, do you think that such stage antics are a cheap shot in opera today? Sherry was my partner in the Metropolitan Opera subscription for some 15 years, until the advent of the Bobs, one for her and one for me. This was only fair. Sherry taught me a lot about opera, about attention to musical nuance, to performance, to the opening of the senses. I have never met anyone as focused on what was happening as Sherry. Not once did I catch her asleep in the opera. Maybe she was nodding off when I was. But I don't think so. I love opera, but I'm distractible. Sherry was all in. Combined with enthusiasm, this total sensory and intellectual engagement was true of everything Sherry turned her attention to, including the causes that moved her to complete involvement and preoccupation. She had her opinions, of course. Never wishy-washy, she was so critical intellectually. And yet, and this brings me back to opera, Sherry was never bitchy. Opera is the place to go to indulge one's bitchiness. Oh, did you hear how flat that was? How fat he looks? How off she is tonight? How he drooled during his entire aria? And yet, and this occurred to me a couple of days ago as I began to write down these thoughts, Sherry was consistently one of the nicest, maybe the nicest people I have ever known. She was so kind and warm and generous and accepting, always. So I want you to know, Cher, I want to know from you, can I accept that Diana Damrau is a superb singer and a consummate acrobat, and that in truth the opera was that much more fun? Sherry was all in the fun dimension too. To tell you the truth, I've been imagining Sherry herself in some incarnation belting out an aria in bel canto style, then going hand over feet in a joyous cartwheel. The key word is joyous.